We have new leaks from Gooseper 2.0, and we've got a 9-page document here that is very interesting. It is a summary of the fundraising meetings with various corporate and union donors as they talk to the Democrats. It is compiled on behalf of Representative Ben Ray Lujan. He's a Democrat of New Mexico, and importantly, the chair of the DCCC. So that is the organization that raises money for House Democrats. So he's in charge of raising the money. That's why he's talking to all these donors, including Goldman Sachs, other bankers, the financial industry overall. One of the groups that he talks to is the Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, SIFMA. So now those guys are lobbyists for the banks, and they're going to want some things. One of the things that SIFMA wants from the Democrats is they want to hold events where they educate the Democrats. They call them literacy events. I love that code word. Okay. Oh, no, we're not, bribing you. We're not trying to push our propaganda on you and our talking points. We're just giving you literacy events. Oh, okay, interesting. Well, we've got a lot more where that came from. SIFMA lobbyists were apparently upset at the Democrats around messaging demonizing Wall Street. So now look, it's so far you're not surprised, right? Wall Street doesn't like it when you say some things might be Wall Street's fault. So they go yell at the Democrats. Now, how they're going to get that message across and who they're going to target is interesting. So they say that the Democratic messaging is, their rhetoric is, quote, problematic, okay? Can't have it. So now this is Goldman Sachs lobbyists in particular. It's Michael Pace and Joyce Brayboy. Now there was one person that they singled out. They said, quote, we don't like Warren's messaging. Oh, is that right? Now that's referring to Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now we told you here, Wall Street doesn't like Elizabeth Warren. That's obvious. She goes to regulate Wall Street. They don't want to be regulated. She goes to say and proves out that they were part of the problem in 2008. They committed fraud. They were the reason that the economy collapsed. They don't like to hear that. She says maybe you shouldn't keep your bonus if you commit fraud. They don't like to hear that. So they don't like Warren's messaging. The whole point behind this is they're telling the money people in the Democratic Party, you better get her back in line. Now do you see why Elizabeth Warren wasn't picked for VP? Like I told you, she wasn't going to be picked. They were never going to allow it. These are the money people. These are the people who run both parties. So now, as you're going to see, the Democrats receiving money from them is a little bit of a mixed bag, but this is the most problematic part. So they go to assure them, hey, don't worry about Elizabeth Warren. Look at this and how damning it is. Intercept explains, like Goldman Sachs, SIFMA lobbyists complained about Elizabeth Warren's influence. In response, Lujan referenced a news article about House Democratic leader Representative Nancy Pelosi, declaring that Warren did not speak on behalf of the party, something the financial industry lobbyists saw as, quote, an encouraging sign. In other words, those are the people in charge of the Democratic Party saying, don't worry about Elizabeth Warren. We're never going to listen to her. We're going to listen to you guys because you're our donors. So every once in a while, we'll huff and we'll puff and we'll have some rhetoric. But at the end of the day, we'll play ball. And Elizabeth Warren's not part of the team. Okay. Now, what's the results of this? Well, in 2014 election cycle, the Goldman Sachs PAC gave the DCCC $30,000. In 2016, it gave $20,000. So, good boy, way to play ball. Now, between those 2 years, 2014, 2016, they're getting less happy with them because some of the Democrats did actually vote. In fact, in one vote, all the Democrats voted unanimously to regulate something about the banks that they needed to regulate. All the Republicans voted with the banks. So the Republicans got more money than the Democrats. You see Goldman Sachs dropping their donation a little bit, but then SIFMA's actually mad. So they say campaign disclosures show that SIFMA's Political Action Committee donated to the committee supporting the House Republicans this year, but not the DCCC. In the 2014 election cycle, they gave $30,000 to the DCCC. So Now, credit to the Democrats. Apparently, they didn't play enough ball, so they lost the financial industry's lobbyist money, and the Goldman Sachs money dipped a little bit. And that's why you got to be fair and point out that both parties are corrupt. Yes, as you can see it right here, the Republicans are more corrupt. They will do anything the bankers ask them to do, while hilariously complaining about crony capitalism and trying to get votes that way. No, they're totally in the pocket of the big banks. But the Democrats, they are sometimes, and other times they're not. But at the end of the day, they tell them, don't worry, we'll tweak you here, and we'll have some rhetoric over there. But Elizabeth Warren and her kind, the progressives that actually want to rein you in, they are nowhere near power. So the Democrats are taking money from the banks, but the DCCC is not the only place that they're getting money. They also get money to the Senate campaigns, to Hillary Clinton's campaign. Then, of course, there's the speeches. But the banks are not the only people giving the Democrats money either. Other corporations are. In fact, GE was far more generous. GE, the document notes, gave $400,000 to the House Democrats last cycle. But they're facing headwinds this cycle. Listed under the headwinds are an array of GE policy concerns, including the renewal of the Export-Import Bank, the repeal of the Affordable Care Act's medical device tax, and changes regarding the Medicare reimbursement formula. You know what that is? That's their shopping list at Christmas. They're like, we're going to give you $400,000, but we've got some headwinds that we want you to deal with. So here's our Christmas list. Okay, now you go ahead and give us everything we want. That's how this game is played. This is corruption 101. Now, don't get me wrong, the Supreme Court legalized this. So all this bribery is now perfectly legal. Okay, you give me this, you give me that, I'll give you that favor back. This is sickening. This is grotesque. This is the slightly less corrupt party. And look at the corruption they're bathing in. Now, you got to get the money out of politics. If you allow them to give money to the politicians, of course they'll buy the politicians, and of course the politicians will do what they want, and of course progressives like Elizabeth Warren will be shut out of the process because she's costing them money. That's how the world works. You get the money out of politics, you end this corruption, you get free and fair elections, wolf-pac.com. But I'm not done yet, because it's not just the companies, it's also the unions. The Laborers International Union of North America, the Union for Construction Workers, warned that they were with the Republicans supporting a total repeal of health reform, that they were concerned about Democratic hostility towards Keystone XL pipeline. The union gave $30,000 to the DCCC in 2014 and $15,000 in this election cycle. Everybody's got a Christmas list. Everybody wants something. So now, from time to time, the conservatives will say to me, oh yeah, but do you want the union money out of politics too? Hell yeah, I do. Of course I want the union money out. Why would I want anyone to bribe people that are supposed to be our representatives? The SEIU was more of a mixed bag. They're even a larger union. They at least wanted protections for minorities. Okay, I agree with that. But they also wanted a minimum wage increase. Yes, I also agree with that. But I don't think that our politicians should be bribed to get to that result. I think we should have a debate in a democracy, and then whoever wins that debate should win the day. It's not like corporations should go and, okay, I'm going to bribe you to make sure you keep the minimum wage low, and the unions come in and go, okay, I'm going to bribe you to make sure the minimum wage goes up. Guys, this is not a democracy. And the Princeton study already showed this to us. They studied over 20 years of policy. Your opinion has no effect on public policy. Public opinion, no correlation to public policy. You know, as a direct correlation to public policy, donor opinion. And it's proven out time after time, and it's proven out in these leaks as well. You gotta get the money out. Otherwise, we're playing patty cakes. Oh, who's gonna be the nominee? Who's gonna win the general election? Who cares? As long as they're part of this corrupt system, nothing's ever gonna change. The only way to change the system is to get an amendment. That's how this system works. There's a code that it follows. It's called the United States Constitution. Now, if you write into that code that they cannot accept money from these corporations and from these donors and from these unions, then you fix the system. That is the only answer. wolf-pac.com. Otherwise, we are stuck in a perpetual loop of corruption. At the Young Turks, we believe in change. We believe we can change the media, make it more independent. Come do it with us. tytnetwork.com/join.